Hey, super quick tutorial on doing time lapses in the Castle Story movie panel. So first thing is that you need to enable the movie panel by going in your Castle Story folder, go to Info, Lua, LUI, Menus, and then open Game Menu.lua, and then find these two lines of codes right here, add menu handle toggle _m mh debug and _m mh movie. Now, if you only want the movie panel, then you just move this line of code right up here under the .creative one. And if you want the debug panel as well, then you move the debug line there as well, and that function right above it. Now, if you moved both of them, you have to delete this leftover code. The if is build debug. You have to delete that because you just removed everything from inside of it. If you only move the movie panel or only move the debug, then you can keep it, but otherwise, delete that, save it, and when you launch your game, you should have two new tabs over here. Actually, let me remove the camera real quick, just so you can see. Okay, there we go. So you should see a movie tab and an editor tab here. So this isn't going to be a tutorial about both of these. The editor tab just lets you spawn stuff, explode stuff, and whatnot, fill in stockpiles. But specifically when it comes to the movie panel, the first thing you're going to want to do, the first thing you want to do is probably to click the hide pivot button here, just so you can hide that yellow, you see that yellow camera thing? You can toggle that off. I'm actually going to leave it for now, just so you can see what I'm doing. The second thing you're going to want to do is toggle on editor camera, which is this button. What this does is that your camera, if you leave it above the ground, after a few seconds, usually it'll snap back onto the ground like this. So now if I toggle on editor camera, it won't do that anymore, and I won't have camera limits like this. So you want to do that while you're working on a time lapse. Now, decide where you want your time lapse to start. So let's say I want to do a time lapse of just a camera rotating around this, because I don't know. Usually there would be Bricktrons building it and working there, but for now that's what I want. So I'm going to set the camera where I want it to be. And then I'm going to try to visualize in my head what kind of time lapse I want. So in this case, I just want the camera to rotate. So if I just want the camera to rotate, I'm going to go to the time lapse section here at the bottom right, where it says activate time lapse, and there's some numbers. Now basically what you want to do is you want to put a value in one of those boxes and then click activate time lapse. So I'm going to do a quick test here. I'm going to put 10 in the first translation box. Just so you know, translation means moving the camera either forwards, backwards, left, right, up and down. That's what translation is. So the first box, I think, is going to be forward, so away from the camera. No, okay, so the first box is to the right. I never know these by heart. So the first box is left and right. So if I put 10, that means I'm going to move at a speed of 10 to the right whenever I click activate time lapse. There we go. Now, if I want to move to the left, then I got to put -10, and it's going to be the same speed, but to the left. There we go. If I put 0, then I'm not moving at all. If I want to, I think the second number, let me test. Okay, so the second number is up and down. So if I put 10 in the second number, I'm going to go up when I click activate time lapse. I'm not touching my keyboard right now. It just does it. When I want to stop it, I click activate time lapse again. If I want to move downwards, then -10, and then activate time lapse. And then you can combine these things together. So let's say I want to move up and to the right at the same time. I'm going to put 10 in the first box, so that's going to move me to the right. And then 10 in the second box, that's going to move me up. So right and up at the same time, I'm going to move diagonally. There we go. So right now what I'm trying to do is rotate around this building that my Bricktrons just imagine are building. So what I'm going to do is actually use the rotation values. I think the first value is rotating to the right. If I put a negative value in there, it's going to rotate to the left. And the second value will be like rotating up and down like this, I believe. Let me test. Yeah, there we go. So a positive value will rotate down like this, and a negative value will rotate up like this. So what I'm trying to do in this case is just rotate to the right like this. So I'm going to put a value in rotation here. I'm going to put something like, I don't know, 10. And then I just click activate, and then I click the button here again just to hide the movie panel, and there we go. But as you can see, I can see the yellow thing, the yellow camera marker, so I'm going to toggle that off. There we go. And I'm not touching anything on my computer right now, and it's rotating like that. Super useful. A little tip I can give you is make sure you zoom out a little more than you think you need, because you're gonna probably want to cut off like the UI in your editor. So just remember that your camera frame is actually this. You know, it's not your whole screen, because you don't want to show the UI in your video. And yeah, another useful thing that might be useful for you in in a time lapse is the video flow section here. So basically, if I click fast 5, everything is going to move 5 times as fast. Keep in mind, right now it looks smooth and very cool, but that's because there's nothing happening in the game. So the game, there's no, like, you're not going to get any lag if there's nothing happening in the game. But if you have lots of bricktons that are all building and harvesting and whatnot, then you're probably going to get some lag if you use ×5. But in a time lapse, lag doesn't really matter, because you're going to speed it up even more in your video editing software. So all the lag spikes are going to disappear. So ×5 might work if you want to make a really super long video. Okay, I hope that helps.